Welcome to this short presentation regarding the Excel MDR converter and analyzer. This video has been created to thank Paul Phones, the Pricing and Maintenance Manager for Supply Chain Coordination Limited, the opportunity for Drew Gibb and Julian Franklin to develop a new, fast and completely reliable means of assessing huge amounts of data. By employing VBA coding, pop-up forms, bespoke pop-up help dialog boxes, we have, as a team, saved suppliers and employees of SCCL tens of thousands of frustrating work hours in sending, analyzing, rejecting, resubmitting, reanalyzing, and processing pro formas to get vital information into a database called Oracle Product Hub. Let's start with what MDR is, what it does, and the people and businesses it affects. What is MDR? MDR stands for Medical Device Regulations. These regulations require that certain information about goods supplied to the NHS must be provided. Imagine, for example, that a medical device has to be stored in a particular way. Perhaps it needs to be refrigerated, kept out of sunlight, kept upright and away from X-rays. If this information is not captured, then the product cannot be safely stored, leading to the product in question becoming defective, useless, or perhaps even dangerous to a patient. Suppliers of goods to the NHS through Supply Chain Services Limited are initially obliged to provide up to 52 pieces of information about each product. This is done by filling in fields in a standard Excel template with the objective of converting the information received into a comma-separated values file, or CSV, to be uploaded into Oracle Product Hub, which is referred to as OPH. Various versions of the Excel template have been issued over the past few years, and we are currently providing our suppliers with version 8, which, we are very proud to say, has been equipped with the most advanced features of Excel and VBA macro coding to assist with the completion of this template. What was wrong with the way suppliers used to complete the form? With up to 52 pieces of information to complete, and with many of the fields left as free text, the form could be completed in a largely uncontrolled and undirected way. This is a problem because OPH is extremely particular about the format of information it receives. Dates, for example, need to be presented in a month, day, year format, that is to say, in the American format. OPH is also very particular about answers being exact matches to the one it holds in its own database, and is extremely unforgiving about capital letters being used where they should be, and vice versa. Incongruities would often appear, often as a result of information being copied and pasted from one source into another, or simply copied down from the previous row, and these too could not be accepted by OPH. If, for example, the supplier is asked, "Is this product sterilized?" and is answered with "No," that would be fine. But when the subsequent question, "How is this product sterilized?" and is answered with "An autoclave," clearly something is amiss. Temperatures must be presented in Celsius without degree symbols, without the letter C, and the minimum temperature always needs to be lower than the maximum temperature. So you can see that perfectly valid answers could be present, but not necessarily acceptable to the Oracle Product Hub, and therefore had to be rejected. Spotting such errors is not easy, especially if the data management employee has over 1,000 rows of data to check. With hundreds of suppliers adding stock all the time, the process was in desperate need of an overhaul. Enter Paul Phones. Paul Phones hired Excel experts in September of 2020 to explore the possibility of automatically color coding missing information and information that was in the wrong format. He first employed Julian Franklin and a week later Drew Gibb. Together, they not only found a way to import data into an Excel template checker that they had designed, but also a means of handling all the previous versions of the template and color code missing data, data that was incongruous, and markup data which was acceptable to OPH. Initial success. Before too long, they had created the various formulas to take account of the rules and display whether data is acceptable, highlighted in green, missing or wrongly formatted, highlighted in red, or questionable, in amber. The formatting used, that used to take hours or even days to complete by hand, now only took a few seconds to apply, an increase in productivity of several thousand%. Next developments. Some kinds of errors could be corrected by hand. Dates could easily be translated into the US format. Case-sensitive answers could likewise be searched for and replaced. These were dubbed knucklehead issues, and once again Drew and Julian coded for these errors, and now approximately 80% of errors on the sheet could be fixed in a matter of seconds. Throwing out the bathwater. Until this point, the house rules of SCCL dictated that if a supplier-completed template had any points of failure, the entire template would be rejected and returned to the supplier. Julian, who at this time had been supervising a small team of Excel experts, suggested it would be a good idea to split the good and the redeem data from the data which was unacceptable into two separate files. The good data would go on to be converted into a CSV for OPH. The bad data would go into a review folder for further human investigation. We had already coded a means of automatically naming our output files with the supplier's names, the number of rows of data it contained, and the date the file was created. Our MDR analyzer now routed these created files into appropriately named folders, and so began an automatic, built-in file naming and file management system. So, how long does it take to import, analyze, split good from bad, convert the information into the correct headers, and produce a named CSV? The largest file tested and timed contained 30,000 rows of data. It had 52 headed columns, meaning that there was something like 1,560,000 cells to check. A human operator might spend a minimum of 3 days just checking the document. Julian and Drew's automated process checked, fixed, and converted the good data in 30 to 40 seconds. OPH is now in a position to accept supplier data, which means that SCCL is able to better serve the NHS, and the supplier can sell more of their goods sooner than before. Error avoidance. Drew Gear produced the significant bulk of the coding, with Julian working in the background to develop a user interface that could assist with errors before the Excel template was even submitted. Error avoidance was a completely novel concept. Some time had been spent with Excel's built-in tooltip function. Essentially, using the data validation message boxes, it is possible to give guidance about what a cell is for and/or a warning when a particular validation rule is breached. While such tooltips can be useful, they are very limited. First, the text in the tooltip box is quite small, typically only 8-point font. Second, there is a rather tight character limit. Third, the tooltip tends to obscure the data you want to look at while the tooltip is displayed. Finally, the tooltip can only display an information or warning message and not much else. We wanted more. We developed one of the most innovative and most useful real-time help objects, which we named Help Genies. These are context-sensitive colored help boxes which gives the user real-time assistance in working out what is wrong with the data in a cell. A blue genie is a rounded blue text box with 12-point script offering information about what a cell is for and what format it should contain. An amber genie appears when cells are formatted in the amber color. As you click on the amber cell, you may get a message that reads, "We notice that you entered a certification end date that is already in the past. This is acceptable, but if you want to change this, you should do so now." Finally, a red genie will tell you when the cell you have currently selected contains data that is either missing or unacceptable to OPH. But rather than just tell the user that something is wrong, it will, based on the particular cell you're in, offer the most likely causes of the wrong answer. Please leave a message. Each of the genies share one other really useful and time-saving feature. It is sometimes useful to leave an ad hoc comment relating to a particular row of data. Sometimes a person may even need to leave several comments. As the user progresses through the various cells in each row, they can simply click on the genie and a user form appears on the screen. The user form has a text box which allows the user to enter as much information as they wish and, rather usefully, allows the user to use the Enter key to start a new paragraph. The information is synchronized with the supplier comment cell for that row, which itself is uploaded into OPH with the other data from that row. The Excel MDR converter and analyzer started with the smallest of ambitions to simply identify and color code common breaches of rules, but with our heartfelt thanks to Paul Phones, we've been allowed to use our creative skills to produce a tool that helps the originator of information complete their onerous tasks with more confidence, more usable drop-down boxes, instant and automatic color-coded feedback, and all in all, just get it right first time. It now also converts other previous versions of the MDR template which had differently named and positioned headers.